Garcia, off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
There's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game. Cortez smacked
To the left. That is gone.
for Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard, count it, and a win! And a win! Brian Perez wins the game! And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back as another broadcast coming your way here on Rio Sports Live. Coming to you from Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas on a Wednesday as we enter the playoff version of Talkin football here live at Fruia Motors. I'm Joe Bowling, Kevin Naro to my far left-hand side running the control panel over there, flying the plane, if you will. And Ruben Rodriguez, who is Mr. Prep today, my friends. We'll get into that a little bit to my immediate left, and then Rudy Zamaripa Jr. on the camera. We got a couple of coaches that are going to join us, and we're going to dive right into football. And also want to throw this out there for the fans that our preview for the playoffs is off the press, and we have some available right here at Fruia Motors. If you're close enough by in Brownsville, stop by, pick up your copy. These are fresh off the press, and these have a lot of loaded information that will take you through the playoffs here in Region 4, as it has all classifications, all brackets, write-ups about the teams, some of our player selections as far as the top players in the area from around the region, and some predictions as to who we believe is going to make it into the regional tournament championship games. But again, we're going to dive right into it. We're at Fruia Motors here in Brownsville, Texas. Stop by and get your copy. It helps us, and you can also tell them thank you for being a sponsor. Well, guys, here we are. We made the playoffs, and it seems like just yesterday we were talking preseason after I spent a midnight madness at St. Joseph. Here we are in the playoffs.
Yeah, we are in the second week of November, and the playoffs are here, and you know it's arguably the best time of year, and it's phase 3 of the season of what these coaches like to refer as. And you know we're bi-district round is always exciting because 1, the playoffs start, and 2, you start to see the first round matchups in 6A, 31 and 32, 6A. And then in the 5As, you really get to kind of determine, because there's the debate all year long, who's the best district. And then you get to settle that in this first round of the playoffs. So there's always a level of excitement. The air is a little crisper, too. I know we're expecting some cooler weather later this week. So it's easily one of the best times of the year.
Going to be football season and in weather-wise, and that always makes it fun. Ruben Rodriguez, again, the season flew by in the blink of an eye. A lot of things happen, but a lot of things are on the horizon. This looks like an exciting playoff coming up across the board.
Playoffs, it's one of the most wonderful times of the year. I like to call it the big dance. Everyone fighting all season to punch their ticket to the dance. Here we are, regions 1 through 4, regions 4, 5A, 6A, 4A, 3A, even 2A. A lot to look forward to as we get to begin the very, very busy playoff season for football.
We got to have some good guests with us as well, and we're going to engage with the coaches and get them to pick some games. And we had lunch earlier prior to our show, Kevin, and I think the selection of coaches here from the Brownsville area, perfect guys to be at this show for our playoff preview. They're both going to be playing in playoffs, one at the TAPS level, one at the UIL level, and both are eager to get in the mix and talk a little football with us. They've been talking all afternoon with us before this show.
We have, but we're bearing the lead here.
Yeah,
we're bearing the lead. We're bearing the lead.
All right,
I'm looking at you, waiting for you to say it.
Here's the lead, my friends. I told you that we were going to Roku, which we did. Those of you that have a Roku device, load the Roku application, and if you have a Roku television, you can go there. But now, just officially 2 minutes before we started this broadcast, we're live on Apple. And that means your iPhone now have the Rio Sports Live app. All you do is go to the play. Well, Kevin loaded it, so I'll let him tell you how you get there. But the app is up and running, the Rio Sports Live app. And so this is where it's going. Right now, today, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, as has been tradition. But the apps are where everything is going, whether it be Roku, whether it be Amazon Prime, whether it be Android, and on Apple, on iPhones. Ruben's got an iPhone. He's got it loaded up, and it's rolling. And so and this will go, currently there's 5 channels that are up and running live. It'll go to a 20-channel network beginning as early as next Monday. For those of you that are in the basketball mode, that's where all of our basketball games are going. And here's the ease of it. With the app, we're going to be able to say, here are the games. Watch your team on channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 through 20, and that's where you'll go. Click on it. It's very simple to operate, but the app is up and running on Apple. Okay, I buried the lead, just trying to curb the excitement because I was through the roof when I finally got the approval. This has been something we've been building, and now Rio Sports Live taking the next step. Now live on Apple.
Yeah, no, hey, as a friend, I'm happy for you. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. From day one, when you first created the Sports Now 360 and everything you went through there, and then, building Rio Sports Live from your living room and from the ground up and from the store back in Harlan and in that little room. But to see the app and you to see your excitement, and now that we have an app, so I'm genuinely happy for you, and it's a big deal because now it alleviates a lot of issues because, since we've made the change over to Roku and the website, now in an app-driven world, you can just tell them, download the app, and it's free, it's accessible. 90% of people own iPhones, right? Free plug in the iPhone there. Android, it's coming soon, right?
Yeah. Android was flagged just a little bit. We had a couple of tweaks we had to do. That was this morning early on. Matter of fact, when the call came, I thought it was going to be that we're approved on Android. I thought we would get there first. That's what I was led by the developers. But when he said, hey, good news, you're live on Apple. And so quickly we get to the store, see if you can get it, and boom, we were there.
Great 72 hours for Rio Sports Live.
Oh, yeah.
Because we pumped this out, on Monday, and it's got all the playoff info. It looks really good. I liked the design. I liked the content. And then we turn around the next day, and we're all deployed. San Diego, where were you? Falfurrias, two different crews in Falfurrias. We had a guy down in Edinburgh covering basketball. Today, this app drops. I think this is the highlight of the week with that app dropping. Tomorrow we start playoff football, Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday. So this is probably one of the bigger weeks Rio Sports Live has had, and I think we're batting 1,000 right now this week.
Yep, and we're just scratching the surface on what we can do because we've done a lot, but there's a lot more coming. Again, this playoff preview is 16 pages, and within each of the pages there's chock full of information. We have all of the brackets, and when you're talking about brackets, there's an article that I write in the very back that kind of defines what this is about, and when it comes to brackets, looking back over the years, that was one of the first things as I announcer, and I know Kevin did it too, and Ruben does it now, and that is as you're getting ready to go broadcast a game, you're looking for everything in the world that you can get your hands on that says, how can I talk about not my game, but the next game and where somebody else has been, and so that's what we did here is we constructed something that fans get to read a little bit about some of the teams that are involved in the playoffs, but more importantly have that bracket in front of them. And, old schoolers fill out your bracket throughout the regional tournament all the way to the championship game. And then for those of you that like to get into the what-if scenarios, in the centerfold is our RSL predictions. And it's a little different in the normal predictions in that we went and predicted who we think is going to be in the eventual championship game within each division, within each classification in the regional tournament champion, if you will, in the bracket. So it's a neat publication. It's free. Everything I do on Rio Sports Live is free. And, again, if you want one right now, come down to Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville. Pop in on us on our show and pick up your publication here before you see them run out, because these are going to go quick when they get to these stadiums at our broadcast.
I really love the program. We get to see that bracket. It gives me the March Madness vibe for high school football here in November, and it's exciting. I know myself, I'm going to be filling that out and playing along. It's very exciting. Again, fans, chock full of information. Think of this as your media guide if you're trying to check in. Joe just said your media guide. You want to know what's the big deal in 2A, 3A, 4A, 5, and 6A. Tune in, pick up a copy of Luke Fruia Motors at our playoff venues this weekend, guys. You're going to love it, trust me.
All right, so again, there we go with all that. We might as well talk about it a little bit as well because of the fact that it's front and center. The app is one thing, all the positives and everything, but I want to clear the air on something, and I'll probably talk about this a couple times during the broadcast, and that is what is happening with broadcast regarding playoff football. Now, Real Sports Live applied for 20 games over the next 2 days. For those of you who think a streaming company is easy, one game is difficult. 20 games, monumental. And so we've got the rights of 19 of those 20 games. And so we're dispersing crews beginning tomorrow across the area, from here to San Diego, to Flower Bluff, to Ingleside, to Corpus Christi, here within the Rio Grande Valley. The hinge is the years past, the first 5 years of Real Sports Live, playoff football became a ever constant struggle in finding the funding to pay for the rights. They were always owned by Fox Sports for the past 5 years. And the first thing you had to do if you wanted to broadcast a football game was apply for the rights through UIL, which was controlled by NFHS, and then eventually owned by Fox Sports. If you got through the approval process that no one else was going to do the game, then Fox Sports sent you a nice little invoice saying, here's a $1,000 bill that you need to pay prior to broadcasting the game. And so those were big-time hurdles that we had to clear, and we did games in the first 5 years. Limited because of the funding, and again, in some cases, it's less than a week turnaround if someone wins on a Friday, turns around and plays on a Thursday to find funding for the next round. It was always difficult, and we had the option of going live audio or video, and we did both. This year, UIL has changed the game by, and I don't want to use the force, but it really is a force for we as broadcasters and broadcasting companies to sign a contract that agrees that they're going to give us rights to games left and right as long as we produce and push it to their platform. In this case, it's the NFHS network. So any fan that's wanting to watch a game, we're going to be there. Our crews are going to be there. We're going to be broadcasting the game and doing it to the best of our ability to bring high quality. It's going to be on the NFHS network. Yes, there's a charge. No, it's not a Real Sports Live charge. And no, it's not a Real Sports Live option that I wanted to undertake ever in putting something behind a pay-per-view. But that's the reality of where we are. I do have school districts that are going to get with me, that are going to look at ways that we can approach UIL and possibly change this. But this season, this is what's in place. The UIL website clearly defines it. If you want to broadcast a game, you apply for the rights. If NFHS is not doing the game, then you can purchase the rights. If NFHS is, and in many cases they go to Real Sports Live and ask us to do the game, then the game is on the NFHS network. So any game we're talking about, as we talk about, we're broadcasting it. The answer's yes. Is it on our Facebook? No. Is it on our YouTube? No. Is it on our Roku? No. We're restricted. We can't put it on any of those platforms. We have to put it on the NFHS network, and we do not control what happens after that. We look at the internet. We look at our broadcast quality. We do everything we can to make that a rock-solid broadcast. From there, it's the NFHS network and their baby. I don't control it. I don't force school districts not to be able to broadcast games, although that's already been bounced out there. This is NFHS. It's the rules. We've always played by the rules, and there it is. That's a long explanation, but fans, you got to understand, we're going to have people, we know Kevin and Rudman, they're going to be looking and saying, hey, where's the game? Where's the game? Where's the game? You guys said you're broadcasting the game. We are. It's on the NFHS network. Now let's get into the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to run down the picket line, and you want to run us through it? We're going to go 6A all the way down.
Yeah,
to
we've got
2A.
Again, we had it in our magazine preview here and by the bracket, but Ruben went an extra mile and a half in prepping us some terrific notes here for our games. And so we can just start with 6A Division I, and we're going to do this with the coaches that are going to be our guests as well. But the three of us will go ahead and
pick it and
dive
move on.
into it.
Pick it and move on. So we're
pick
just
it and move on.
Rapid
we're not
fire.
Talk about games. We're just going to say winner, 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 winner down the line. All right, here we go. 6A. We're going to start with 6A. We're going to work our way all the way down into the 2A, and then we'll also talk about TAPS. Let's talk about 6A Division I winner. Edinburgh North, Los Fresnos.
Edinburgh North.
Tough Edinburgh North.
And I go Los Fresnos. And we'll get into why later on. All right, but there it is. The winner gets to play, by the way, Brennan or Loretto Alexander. We won't pick that one. Let's go to San Benito, La Jolla.
San Benito.
San Benito.
And San Benito, Greyhound across the board. 6A Division II, Edinburgh, Westaco. That's a 5-5 Edinburgh and a Westaco team at 7-3.
Edinburgh and an upset.
Give me Westaco. Records don't lie.
I go with Edinburgh. It's their time to shine. Harlingen, PSJA. If anyone picks PSJA, I'm buying them a steak dinner if PSJ wins that. I'll say it first. I pick Harlingen.
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 And there's your pick. The winner of that takes on Eagle Pass or San Antonio Warren. 5A Division I matchups. Harlingen South, McAllen.
Mackay and an upset.
It's a tough one. Both teams are really good, and I just want to say Harlingen South.
As a graduate, he should. I'll go Harlingen South as well. We'll talk about why I think they may not win that game later on. The winner will take on San Antonio Southside or Victoria East. Southside a heavy favorite in that. Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial taking on Medina Valley. Yes, we're broadcasting that game as well. Go.
CC Vets.
CC Vets has been a powerhouse all season. I don't expect them to stop now.
Across the road, CC Vets is my winner. The winner takes on Edinburgh Vela or Westaco East, and we could go a whole hour talking about that one. We won't. PSJA North, 10-0, takes on Donna, 7-3.
PSJ North.
PSJ North.
PSJ North, I agree totally there. No big upsets. The winner takes on, get this, CC Miller or San Antonio Southwest Legacy. Brownsville Veterans takes on McAllen Road. That's 8-2 and 6-4.
Chargers.
Chargers all the way.
Chargers. The winner takes on San Antonio Southside, which is 7-3 in Victoria West. 5A Division II. Sherryland Pioneer takes on Mercedes.
Pioneer.
Pioneer.
And Pioneer across the board. I like Mercedes, but Pioneer I'll go with. Winner takes on Liberty Hill, which is 9-1. They're taking on San Antonio Highlands. Gregory Portland, 7-3, takes on Mission Veterans Memorial. That's 7-3 and 5-5.
Gregory Portland.
Mission Veterans.
My heart would say yes, and I'm going to do it. Mission Vets. Coach Gilpin, don't let me down. Coach Gilpin, there it is. CC Flower, the winner of that takes on Alamo Heights, which is 9-1, or Kerrville Tivy. A lot of 9-1s versus 5-5s in the first round. CC Flower Bluff takes on Roma.
The Bluff.
The Bluff.
And the Bluff. The winner takes on San Antonio Burbank, which is 7-3, and Lockhart, a good 7-3 team as well. Sherryland, 6-4, takes on Ed Couch Elsa. That's a 6-4 versus 4-6. Go.
Wait, check that. Sherryland, Ed Couch? Yep. Sherryland.
Sherryland.
And Sherryland here. The winner takes on San Antonio Veterans Memorial or San Antonio Harlan at 6-4. 4A Division I, Alice takes on Port Lavaca. That's an 8-2, taking on a 3-7 Sand Crabs.
Alice.
Alice.
And Alice. The winner takes on Canyon Lake, 6-3, or Uvalde, 5-5. Toledo Midway, 6-4, takes on Pleasanton, which is 5-5.
TM.
Pleasanton.
And I'm going to go with TM at 6-4. The winner takes on Bernie, which is 10-0, or Taylor, 5-5. The winner there, Bernie's tough. We'll talk about that later too. LaFeria, 6-4, takes on Lavernia, 8-2.
Lavernia.
Lavernia.
Yeah, I got to go with Lavernia in this one too. My heart would say LaFeria, but I'm going to go Lavernia. The winner takes on Somerset, which is 8-2. They're playing Lampasas at 6-4. Cal Allen, 10-0, takes on Beeville Jones at 5-5.
Cal Allen.
Cal Allen.
And the Wildcats on my bracket as well. Winner takes on San Antonio Davenport, which is 9-1 at Fredericksburg at 5-4. 4A Division II. Raymondville takes on Orange Grove. That's a broadcast game as well.
The Grove.
The Grove.
I'll go Orange Grove as well. We can get into why later on. Winner will take on Wimberley, which is 10-0, or San Antonio YMLA, 3-7. Port Isabel, Ingleside. This is maybe one of the better matchups in the first round at any division, any classification. Pair of 8-2s with a similar style of play. Go.
Tony V. PI, for those
Yes.
that don't know. Tony V.
Tony V's Tarpons run wild.
Port Isabel, I'm going to stick with them. The winner takes on Divine, which is 9-1, or Gerald at 4-6. They'll play as well. La Gruya at 1-8 in the playoffs takes on Sinton at 7-3. I'll go Sinton.
Sinton.
And the winner takes on Bandera, which is 8-2, or Lago Vista at 7-3. Bishop at 5-5 takes on Corpus Christi West Oso. That's 5-5 versus 3-7. Go.
Bishop.
Bishop.
I'm going to go West Oso, and we'll talk about that in a little while later on. That's you consider it an upset at 3-7, but I'm going to go West Oso. Winner takes on Geronimo Navarro at 6-4 or Pearsall at 7-3. Let's go to 3A Division 1. Rio Hondo takes on Goliad. Goliad 7-3, Rio Hondo 5-5.
Goliad.
Goliad.
And I'll go with Goliad as well. The winner takes on Llano at 10-0 or Catula at 6-4. Foul Furious takes on Vanderbilt Industrial. Now that's 7-3, the jerseys, and Vanderbilt setting at 8-2.
Vandy.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I got Vanderbilt deep in my bracket. I better pick Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt to win. The winner takes on Jordanton at 9-1 or Luling at 6-4. Lyford, a 7-3 Lyford team takes on Edna at 9-1.
Edna.
Williston County, don't let me down. Lyford.
Wow, that's a big prediction there. I'm going to go with Edna all the way. Winner takes on Hondo, which is 5-5, or Universal City Randolph at 8-2. San Diego takes on Corpus Christi London. That's an 8-2 San Diego team taking on London at 4-5.
San Diego.
Vaqueros, San Diego.
And I'll go with San Diego as well. Winner takes on Poteet, which is 6-4, or Blanco, and another 6-4 team. 3A Division 2, Hebronville 5-5, Natalia 5-5.
Hebronville.
Hebronville. Flip the coin, Hebronville as well. Winner takes on Lexington at 10-0, or Wallace Brazos. Santa Rosa in the playoffs. Impressive run to the regular season. They're 7-3. Nixon Smiley, their first opponent, at 6-4.
Some Joe Marichilada magic. Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa.
And I'd like to believe in that, but I think Nixon Smiley's got too much. I'm going to go Nixon Smiley. Winner takes on Tide Haven at 8-2, or Clifton at 3-7. George West at 4-5 takes on Poth at 9-1.
Poth.
Poth all the way. Winner takes on Bowling at 7-3, or Buffalo at 5-5. Taft, this is in the Class 3 Taft. 8-2 takes on Comfort at 3-7.
Taft.
And Taft as well. The winner takes on Rogers at 7-3, or Van Fleck at 6-4. Now we go to 2A Division 1. Fruia takes on Three Rivers, 6-4 and 8-2.
Three Rivers.
I'll go Three Rivers as well. Winner takes on Flatonia, which is 9-1 on the year. They take on Junction, 2-7. Santa Maria, 7-3, takes on Shiner at 8-2.
Shiner.
2 state titles in a row, don't lie. Shiner
by a bunch. Winner plays Mason at 8-2, or Hearn at 5-5. Ben Bolt takes on Refugio. Refugio at 9-1. Ben Bolt at 3-7.
Refugio.
Same here, Refugio. The winner takes on Stockdale at 8-2, or Holland at 5-5. La Villa then at 8-2 takes on Ganado, 7-3.
Danny Pettis, La Villa Cardinals.
Let's go La Villa.
And I'll stick with La Villa as well. There's your picks, classification 6 through 2, and every division, including up and down and who they're going to be playing. Let's talk about the St. Joe game. We're going to have to do a prediction on St. Joe.
Kelly Lee, we're going to bring him on next?
Yeah, we'll bring him on next.
St. Joe.
Yeah, St. Joe.
You know, Mother Nature.
The Woodlands, by the way.
You know, Mother Nature's going to have a lot to do with Saturday. We're going to have to keep an eye on the weather. It can go one way or another. You know, I'm hoping there isn't any rain from a production standpoint. And if from a coaching standpoint, you're looking at it, if you're St. Joe, you come out of the spread, and if it's going to be pouring rain, does not vote well for you. On the other side of it, you know, the Woodlands Christian is a team that likes to run the football, so, you know, they haven't played on grass all year. So it could be wet, it could be muddy, it could be messy, and it works both ways when you're playing in the rain. But, you know, if we're looking at some good weather, I'd pick St. Joe with some confidence because they're at home and because they're healthy. If the rain does decide, it's just going to be a toss-up on who can execute better. We're going to have to just wait and see.
Wait and see for the weatherman. You got a prediction on that one?
Well, I pick St. Joe. If you're asking for my pick, I pick St. Joe.
Yeah, take the numbers here. I've seen St. Joe before. I've seen them when they're partially healthy. I haven't seen them when they're fully healthy, but I'm sure they're good, and they're playing at home at Canales Field. A lot of tradition there. I'm going with St. Joe.
St. Joe. I'm going to pick St. Joe as well because they're giant killers on that field. Canales Field is the place where magic happens. Going back to my interviews that I did with the Taste of the Town earlier this week, you know, there's some state titles that have been won right there on that field back in the 80s. So I picked St. Joe. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll start getting some coaches in the mix. That's Ruben Rodriguez. That's Kevin Naro. I'm Joe Bowling. We'll be back with more Talking Sports at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville after this.
Or splash down. Brunch, lunch, or late night munch. That's as hard as it gets at South Padre Island. Voted Texas Travel Awards Destination of the Year. Plan your escape at sopadre.com.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live! We are the Border Cowgirls, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Yeehaw!
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
We're the San Bernardino Lady Trojans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruia, we're what's next now.
We are the Westaco Lady Panthers, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Yeah!
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles? How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito. Back here at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. It's a Wednesday, and we're talking some playoff football. And Ruben Rodriguez shifts over to the driver's seat. I'm just a co-pilot here. I'm just a guy talking. They're spinning the wheels and cranking the dials. Rudy Zambaripa Jr. on the camera. Ruben, away we go. I said the coaches are with us, and we got a good one right in between us.
Yep, joining us, Brownsville veterans head coach Kelly Lee. Coach Lee, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all having me.
Coach, we were talking about it off air. I'm sure right now you feel like a kid on Christmas morning with playoffs. Just over 24 hours away, you guys will be taking on Cowan Row at home next tomorrow night at Thursday at 7 o'clock. What are just some of your thoughts as we're just a little over 24 hours ago?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It's an exciting time. You know, it doesn't matter how many playoffs you've been to or how many different games you've coached in or played in. When it's playoff time, there's a little bit extra excitement, and we're thrilled to be playing our first ever playoff game there at Veterans Stadium.
It is the first time they are hosting a playoff game there. So what are just some things you guys, what's just the talk in the locker room, players, how your players feel about it?
Well, we told them they could make history by winning the first ever playoff game at that stadium. We're 10-0 lifetime there as a varsity program, so we've never lost. So we're comfortable playing at home. We love the atmosphere, and I know our parents will be tailgating, and we just look forward to a great game.
Coach, talk to me about the progression of your football team from week one. I was there. I broadcast that one. I broadcast the St. Joe game, and I broadcast the Harlingen South game personally. So three different looks, and it was three different Brownsville veterans teams I saw. Talk about the progression of the season.
Sure. Early we knew we had a good football team, but we were inexperienced at a few positions, and we really didn't have true running backs. We've kind of created some guys, moved them from receiver, moved them from D-line, and we had some turnover issues early in those first two games, and we've worked really hard and have done a great job of taking care of the ball. And Reese Sampaio, our quarterback's really flourished in our system, makes great decisions for us. And defensively, I think we've played pretty solid all year long. And we've been able to stop some spread teams. We've been able to stop some run teams. So we've seen a lot of different stuff. And I just really thrilled with the way our team's grown up throughout the year.
Talk about this road team and what they bring to the table, and more importantly, when you get to a game like this, I ask coaches a lot of times when I'm doing interviews, when you reach the playoffs, is it more about refining everything you do well, or do you still have to throw in those wrinkles? This is what they do well. we have to be ready for that too.
Yeah, I think you want to have a few little wrinkles, but you don't want to get too far away from what got you there and what you're good at. So you emphasize that, and then you're going to take a look at the other team. And defensively, you want to take away what they do best. Rowe's a spread team that runs the football. You know what I mean? So they can really run it. You can't get lulled into sleep to thinking that they're a soft throwing team. They'll run it well. I'm not great with names, but they're number 6. Speedster has 11 touchdowns. So he's, you got to know where he's at on every snap because he's got the potential to break the game wide open.
I'll let Ruben continue on with the interview. My final question is, a lot of times no coach in the world will say it on air that loss was a good one for us. But a lot of times coaches will realistically look at a game in which they lost and say, this helped me build my team into a better football team. Westaco East to now, better football team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we learned some lessons in that game about controlling tempo of a game, of staying with your foot on the gas, once you get a lead and finishing a game. And hopefully those are things that will be valuable to us in the playoff games.
Ruben, carry on.
Now, Coach, starting from preseason, now you get an idea. You get an idea of what your strengths are, what are you looking forward to in the district. What are just some key things you've learned throughout the season?
Well, our team's really resilient. You know what I mean? We've had some games where we've had some adversity and we've been able to fight through it. I thought, Harlingen South was that kind of game early, back and forth. And we just, had relentless effort and finally some breaks went our way. And our team's very explosive when that happens. We can get momentum, generate momentum. We can score a lot of points in a hurry. So it's just an exciting football team, fun football team to coach.
Talk about who are some of the more versatile players. I know we got some big names like Reese Sampaio, we have Storm Montoya, Brian Chavez, Hey Valdez, Michael McHale. Who has just emerged as some of the key leaders on offense for this Charter team?
Well, Reese is our captain. He's done a great job all year offensively. Brian's one of our co-captains, and he's kind of been our catalyst in the run game. But defensively, I think Christian De La Garza has just been phenomenal, at the defensive end spot for us, and really someone that I think other teams have to game plan against, keeping a back end or a tight end in to block him. Jaime Martinez, our middle linebacker, he studies a ton of film. He by the time we play, he knows the other team's offense extremely well. And then obviously Gilbert Trill has been a leader for our defense day one and been an impact player for us on that side of the ball.
Now this whole past week, of course, playoffs beginning tomorrow for you guys. What were just some things you guys really hit and went to work on early on?
Well, we kind of went Saturday really hitting and Monday hitting back on some fundamentals. We wanted to make sure our fundamentals were in place. And then, just making sure we get good reps at what Rowe does, both offensively and defensively. They're pretty versatile on both sides of the ball, so there's a lot you have to prepare for. But, this time of year, you don't need as much physical practice. You want to scale that down a little bit so that you're fresh. But, a lot of film, a lot of walkthrough stuff on top of our normal practice to make sure we're ready.
Sounds good. All right, Coach, we're going to put you in the hot seat. I talked to you about during lunch, and Tino as well. We just ran down our picks right down the line. It's going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw you a game. Teams, just throw me a winner, and I can leave your team out if you'd like because we already know you're going to pick
I'll
veterans.
pick our team, of course.
All right, here we go. 6A Division I, Edinburgh North at 8-2 takes on Los Fresnos.
I think that'll be one of the tougher ones. I think Los Fresnos has had a tough schedule. I think that they'll get the nod there.
Check Los Fresnos, San Benito, and La Jolla. That's 9-1 and 2-8.
I hate to pick against another Flexbone team, but San Benito's an awful good football team.
6A Division II, Edinburgh at 5-5 takes on Westaco, 7-3.
Westaco's had a great year.
And Harlingen at 10-0 takes on PSJ.
Harlingen, Cardinals.
5A Division I, Harlingen South and McAllen.
That's an interesting one because McAllen's playing really well, but I think if Harlingen South is healthy, they'll get the win.
Corpus Christi Veterans takes on Medina Valley. That's 8-2 and 5-5.
CC Vets.
CC Vets. PSJA North takes on Donna. That's 10-0 and 7-3.
Oh, yeah. PSJ North, a phenomenal team.
Again, we're going to leave BVM off. He's going to pick them. I'll just tell you right
that's
now.
Right.
5A Division II, Sherryland Pioneer takes on Mercedes.
You know what? I'm going to go with Mercedes just because how hot they were second half of the season.
They've also got that one guy that could do something.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Gregory Portland takes on Mission Vets at 7-3, and the Mission Vets Patriots at 5-5.
We scouted Gregory Portland last year. They got some phenomenal players. I'd have to pick them.
CC Flower Bluff takes on Roma.
Flower Bluff.
Sherryland Ed Couch-Elsa.
I'd go with Sherryland in that one. That'll probably be a good game, though.
Drop to Class 4 in Division I. Alice 8-2, Port Lavaca Calhoun 3-7.
Alice.
And Tuleso Midway at 6-4, and Pleasanton 5-5.
Let's go with Tolosa Midway on that.
La Feria from the RGV takes on Lavernia. That's 6-4 and 8-2.
Oh, man, that's a tough one, but we'll go with La Vernia on that.
Lavernia, that ground and pound game.
Yeah.
Again, these coaches do that.
Yep.
These coaches that coach that. Cal Allen 10-0.
Oh, Cal Allen.
Across the board. Raymondville takes on Orange Grove. That's 4-5 and 6-4.
Yeah, we'll go with Raymondville.
They can do it. Port Isabel at 8-2. Ingleside, interesting matchup, 8-2.
That will be. We played Port Isabel. They're tough. I'm gonna go with them.
And La Gruya and Sinton.
Sinton, 7-3. Yeah.
Bishop and Corpus Christi West Oso, 5-5, 3-7.
Let's go with Bishop.
Yeah. Again, fans, I picked West Oso early. I'm going to tell you why. They got a tailback that's about to burst the 3,000 yards in a season.
Phenomenal, isn't it? That's amazing.
From a coach that coaches the running game, you'd like to have him.
Yeah, I would love to have that.
Even
guy.
though they're 3-7.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Rio Hondo, 5-5 takes on Goliad, 7-3.
Let's cheer for Rio Hondo there.
There you go. Falfurrias takes on Vanderbilt Industrial, 7-3, 8-2.
Falfurrias.
And Lyford Edna, that's 7-3, 9-1.
I don't know anything about Edna, but I saw Lyford play early. They're pretty good. We'll go with Lyford.
There's a hometown pick there. San Diego and Corpus Christi London, 8-2, 4-5.
San Diego.
Hebronville, 5-5. Natalia, 5-5. That's 3A Division 2.
Hebronville.
Santa Rosa, 7-3. Nixon Smiley, 6-4.
Let's go with Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa with a phenomenal season at 7-3. George West, 4-5. Poth, 9-1.
Poth.
All the way. Taft, 8-2. Comfort, 3-7.
Taft.
And 2A Division 1. Freer, 6-4. Three Rivers, 8-2.
I have to go with Three Rivers in that one.
Santa Maria, 7-3. Takes on Shiner.
Oh, Shiner.
That's a returning state champion, folks. Ben Bolt takes on Refugio at 9-1 and Ben Bolt.
Refugio.
And La Villa takes on Ganado at 8-2, 7-3.
Let's go La Villa.
La Villa Cardinals. Coach, thanks for your picks. Thanks for joining us, and good luck in your game this week.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all having me.
We'll be back with another coach right after this. We're talking football here at Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. This is Rio Sports Live. That's Ruben Rodriguez. We'll be back with more after this.
We are the Red Lady Raiders, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Castillo. I invite you to visit San Benito and see for yourself the many things this community has to offer. Our offices of economic development offer a variety of business resources to developers, investors, and business owners from small to large scale. Contact us and let us work together on your next business opportunity.
We are the Harlingen Lady Cardinals, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hello from Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated Texas Education Agency district. A stands for Academic Excellence at Los Fresnos CISD, where pathways to secondary success are being built for students at the brand new Resaca Middle School campus. A stands for Academic Advancement at Los Fresnos High School, where the College Center provides a jump start on college and career readiness that includes advanced placement classes, dual enrollment options, CTE opportunities, and scholarship money. Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated and 7-time post-secondary readiness distinction district.
We are the Edinburgh North Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
At Harlingen CISD, college, career, community ready is more than just a saying. We've created 12 academies to provide students with access to fields of study that best fit their interests and passions. Within the 12 academies, there are 42 certifications that will aid students in getting a head start on a career upon graduation. Become HCISD proud and enroll today.
We're the Pace Lady Vikings, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Graduation time. Time to make some decisions. What's next? Can I afford to continue my education? What are my options? At Brownsville ISD Career and Technical Education, you can graduate from high school with a certificate and/or license ready to go to work, debt-free. We have a wide range of programs for every student, ranging from audiovisual, law enforcement, STEM robotics, electrical, welding, pharmacy, patient care tech, and many more to choose from. That's why Brownsville ISD is the best choice.
We're the Edinburgh Lady Bobcats, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Woo!
For quality care, contact Mesquite Home Health and Attendant Services today. In Brownsville at 594 Jose Marti Boulevard. Call today, 956-361-5558.
We here at Mesquite want to wish all local athletes good luck in today's game.
We're the Honolulu South Lady Hawks, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Hawks up!
The Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival will be held at the Harlingen Convention Center November 9th through the 13th. Registration open for over 100 field trips, seminars, and special events. Entry into the trade show, Birds of Prey flight shows, and Children's Nature Nuke are free. Come join us. Visit rgbvf.org for more information.
We're the Mission Lady Eagles, and you're watching Real Sports.
We are back here talking football on Real Sports Live at the Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Buick GMC Cadillac right here. This is your showroom. It's full of cars, which a couple of years ago, well, a year ago, that wasn't the case. Cars were hard to come by, and now the showroom is starting to fill up. You get more of the feel of a dealership when you come into Luke Fruia Motors right now. And again, we're talking football. We're waiting for Tino Villarreal to join us. Here's what Tino is. He shows up, 5 people catch him, and he tries to make his way here. So what we're going to do is normally I'd take a break and we'll say we'll be back with Coach, but we'll let you see behind the curtain. Pull the curtain back. This is what happens when a coach walks in on our set, because we're going to bring Tino right here, front and center, to the center seat. Nothing like live production on screen.
Awesome.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Here we go. Playoffs are here.
I was ready, but they were giving boosters for
All right.
COVID. I got my 4th one right now. People would say that's crazy, right, during a playoff, but I'm ready.
Tino Villarreal joining us. Kevin, again, you got to see the Bloodhounds in their final regular season game, and I'll let you two talk about it, but I'll tell you, fans, they went up there undermanned, to say the least. The Bloodhounds were nursing some injuries, and yet, guys, they came away with a victory.
Yeah, you guys went up with 9 guys short.
Yeah.
Because as the afternoon went on, I said, where's he and where's him and who's that guy? So, but, I felt you guys found some moxie in that second half. It was missing a little early on. And I think you were able to work with what you had. And then to see DP, I think that was probably as full of display as we've seen him this year.
Yeah. I mean, I told the team heading into the game, like, look, we're going to have to learn to play with whoever's available. We have some kids that are banged up. That game was not going to change our seed in the playoffs. And obviously you want to finish the season on a high. You don't want to finish on a loss. But not taking those guys, obviously, we knew it was going to pose some other challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking for our role players to step up and deliver. And it seems like every game, Adrian just gets more and more comfortable back into his role. Because while he was out was the emergence of Claudio Torres. And so you saw a lot of 84 and a lot of that kind of getting the ball to him, a lot of touches. And it was, how do we balance it too as a coaching staff? It wasn't a player thing, it was a coaching thing. And now I think you get to see the balance of both of them, because they both finished with in the high hundreds. I think Adriana had 200, 199, 200 yards, and Claudio had like 170. So, you're now able to distribute the ball between those two guys.
And I think one thing that speaks to last Friday's win was that, so you were down 9 guys, but you still managed to put up 60. So I think that speaks to your depth, and that's a good thing going into your playoff game next week.
Absolutely, that's another point. Can you win without certain guys, and that means that you get other guys that don't really get the playing time, a lot of experience under their belt, which we're going to need if we plan to go deep in the playoffs.
So the big question, and I'll let you jump in, is where are you at health-wise now that the playoffs are here?
100%. Which it makes me happy. I'm at practice, everyone's suited out, everyone looks like they're moving perfect, everyone's spirits are high. So, we're going to hopefully see the best version of the Bloodhound Saturday.
We're going to dive into the playoffs and the predictions portion of this, but I want to touch base on a big event that happened this week for Brownsville St. Joseph, Taste of the Town. And, Coach, I was able to do 2 interviews, which they extended beyond 30 minutes each, which we're going to be putting those up on our on-demand on our new app. But 2 outstanding interviews. First, Coach Starkey, which we'll get to him in a moment. But before that, big award given out, Taste of the Town, to a man that meant a lot to you.
Ray Cortinas, my high school line coach, and he's been coaching at the school for over 4 decades. He's coached a bunch of state champions in the shot and discus, and he was interim head coach of football. He's been offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He's coached linebackers, D-line, running backs, receivers, offensive line. His expertise is everywhere, and it's fitting, to put him in the ring of honor with big legends like Joe Peña, who hired him and coached 2 state championships, Mehmet Garza, who has over 2 dozen state championships in cross country and track. So you're looking at a lot of legends at St. Joe, and to put his name up there, super special in general for any of the people who get that, especially for your old high school coach.
I was going to say at the Taste of the Town, which was a celebration of sorts, but it's also a major contributor to funding everything that you do on the athletic side of St. Joseph. But that award isn't one of these, let's give an award out every year. That's a well-earned, very rare occasion in which you say it's time to hand out that Ring of Honor.
Absolutely. And like I said, all the names on there are all deserving. And, we couldn't have picked a better guy this year. Ray deserved it. He was on the ballot for a couple of years. And we kept hoping for the day, and this was it. Super special for all of us.
And again, we had him on. We did a live broadcast on that. We put it on the St. Joe Network, but I did keep a recording of that, and I've been holding in my back pocket 2 30-plus minute interviews with 2 of the guests that came. He, along with Jason Starkey, in which we went in depth. And man, when I talked to Coach, he's talking about. I talked about what I've seen on Canales Field. The things he has been a part of on Canales Field, including some state championships right here. Everyone talks about Donna, and that's fine on the UAL side. But, hey, since Donna, if you want to talk about a state champion in football, well, then it happened on Canales Field, and he was part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Super cool.
And, again, I talked to him about the importance of and, again, I'm going to put the interview up on our on-demand, on our Now app and on our Now Roku. But I talked to him about the importance of, you and I have talked about, what Canales Field means and what it means to play on that field and the importance of being able to bring someone there, even though you may be an underdog. But, man, he opened it up even to a much broader scale. And I'm sure he talks about that to the players, the fact that, I've coached, I've played, I've bled on this very turf that you're walking on, and that means something tradition-wise for your football players.
Absolutely. Tradition is a big part of who we are as Bloodhounds. I mean, I played for St. Joe. Ray was my coach. Ray played at St. Joe. Mike Avila, who's on our staff, played in the 80s and played in a state championship game. Luigi Cristiano, whose 3 boys play. Luigi, who's now at college, but Andre Lucas, he played for St. Joe. So you're looking at a lot of Bloodhounds that we've all practiced on that field, played on that field, big games, memorable games. Tradition is definitely something that we're very blessed with, as you know, being around our program in spring ball and in the midnight. We're going to always have alums show up there, and so that's part of what makes St. Joe cool. It's a place where it's like a college feel. You get to come back to campus and be open to the facilities and call it home.
Let's break down this game coming up on Saturday. It's a Saturday playoff game, so we should actually invite everyone out there. I know you're going to be following the UIL, those of you who are following this show.
We're the only Saturday game in the Valley.
Saturday game in the Valley at Canales Field. It's an afternoon game. But, your opponent is going to be top-notch. Once again, playoffs for you guys mean that here comes some potentially, most likely, D1 players are going to come stepping on Canales Field. You got to contend with that. And B, how many games have you coached when the weather forecast is saying it's going to be soupy, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be rainy, it's going to be cold?
Yeah.
Factors in this week's game.
Their line, we're definitely undersized, but I mean, that's not news. We're undersized to a lot of guys in our district. Yeah, they had some D1 guys. I mean, we just played against a D1 guy at TMI, Gardner, who's out there, and so our district. We're not a lot of people know about St. Joe, and we kind of get lost in the whole district chat with the Rio Grande Valley. Thanks to Real Sports Live, we're somewhat still relevant in the world today because we're usually relevant weeks 1 through 3, and then we disappear. But everyone in our district is bigger, faster, stronger. They got D1 talent, all of the above. So nothing new. What are the challenges? We're gonna have to just play the best football that we can, right? Their strength is their defense. Our strength is our offense. Okay, right now, that doesn't mean that their offense can't get going, and that doesn't mean our defense can't get going. You know, we've seen our defense shut out of St. Michael's for 2.5 quarters. Who was just like them, had D1 guys and guys way bigger than us. So we're just going to have to play good football. And, again, yeah, weather, whatever. There's a lot of people who say we're a passing team, and what if it rains, and what if the field's sloppy. But I loved having lunch with you guys and Kelly Lee, right? Kelly Lee, savvy guy, college coach. He's like, hey, they got to play on grass, and you pass the ball a lot. The rain also helps you because your receivers know what route they're running. Their DBs have to react, and if they slip on that grass, guess what? Advantage St. Joe. So it's going to be a weather that's going to affect both teams. So we're not scared of that.
Before we get into the picks, I'm going to ask you, what's the ugliest conditions you ever played in or coached?
Okay. Ugliest conditions, Kai Money's junior year against Austin St. Michael's at Canales Field. It was, I mean, just the whole sideline was full of mud. I think Kai Money, we had a 4th and 6, and they were like, there's no way they're going to pass the ball. The balls were soaked. They were wet. And I think he shot-putted it to Dave LePere, and we converted that 4th and 6 while we were down the score. And then, again, slippery field. Kai Money kept his feet, faked out 7 players from St. Michael's, took in a 57-yard run to the house, and we beat them for the first time in school history. So, you know, bad weather may not be you know, something that a spread team like us is eager to have, but we're not afraid of it. We play well in it. We're excited for whatever weather God gives us.
Before I get into the picks, anything else, Kevin?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, here we go. Rapid
head.
fire, Coach. We're gonna run you right down the line. No breaking you down. I'm just gonna throw some names at you, and we're gonna get your picks. All right.
Before I answer,
yes.
I'm gonna let all the viewers know that's not who I'm cheering for. I'm cheering for the Rio Grande Valley all the time. I'm cheering for Brownsville all the time. But this is if we're gonna pick them, it's like if I'm gonna gamble. And I have to pick a winner. One of these two teams has to win. So these are just my opinion. If it hurts your feelings, sorry. But this is what I think is going to happen.
Yep.
Okay.
It's nothing personal, my friends.
No.
All right, here we go. Down the line, 6A Division I. Edinburgh North, 8-2. Los Fresnos 6-4.
Los Fresnos.
And San Benito at 9-1. La Jolla 2-8.
San Benito.
6A Division II. Edinburgh 5-5. Weslaco 7-3.
Weslaco.
Harlingen 10-0. PSJA 5-5.
Harlingen.
Harlingen South 7-3. McAllen 5-5.
Harlingen South.
Corpus Christi Veterans CC against Medina Valley.
Veterans.
PSJA North and Donna.
North.
Brownsville Veterans McAllen Rowe.
Brownsville Vets big.
Pioneer Mercedes.
Pioneer.
Gregory Portland Mission Vets.
Gregory Portland.
Flower Bluff Roma.
Flower Bluff.
Sherryland Ed Couch Elsa.
Sherryland.
4A Division I. Alice Port Lavaca Calhoun.
Alice.
Toloso Midway Pleasanton.
Pleasanton.
La Feria Lavernia.
Lavernia.
Cal Allen Beeville Jones.
Let me think. Cal Allen.
Raymondville Orange Grove.
Orange Grove.
Port Isabel Ingleside.
Ingleside.
La Gruya Senton.
Senton.
Bishop. Corpus Christi West Oso.
I hope Bishop. Bishop. Yeah, go with Bishop.
Rio Hondo Goliad.
Rio Hondo.
Falfurious Vanderbilt Industrial.
Falfurious.
Lyford Edner.
Edna.
San Diego, Corpus Christi, London.
San Diego.
In 3A Division II, Hebronville, Natalia.
Hebronville.
Santa Rosa, Nixon Smiley.
I hope Santa Rosa.
George West, Poth.
Poth.
Taft, Comfort.
Taft.
And 2A Division I, Freer, Three Rivers.
Three Rivers.
Santa Maria, Shiner.
Shiner.
Ben Bolt, Refugio. And La Villa, Ganado.
La Villa.
There it is. Coach's picks are in.
My picks are in, man. And by the way, I picked the Bloodhounds on Saturday, too.
We knew that. we kept Coach Lee off of his pick. I was like, he's going to pick Brownsville Veterans. We're going to put him in the spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pick St. Joe and I'll pick Veterans. I think, they won 5 district games. We won 6 district games. That's 11 district games by the 2 Brownsville schools. I hope it's a big week for Brownsville. I know Veterans will take care of their job tomorrow night at their home, which is cool, right? They get to play in their high school. I'm very happy for that. They're going to have a cozy home environment, a lot of fans, nothing but a lot of respect for our BISDs and especially Brownsville veterans. So they'll take care of business. Now it's going to be up to us to do it Saturday, and hopefully Brownsville gets playoffs another week next week.
And for fans that want to get involved in the picket, make sure you pick up a copy of our playoff preview tabloid, which is out. It's got every division, every bracket, every classification, including TAPS, where the Bloodhounds reside. Right. And so if you want to have some fun, pick it up. It'll last you throughout the playoffs all the way into the regional title games. So, again, it's out. It's in print. It'll be at the playoff games, including at Canales Field. We had a lot of fun putting that together, Coach.
And this is the coolest thing. I recommend that some people tag you in social media with their bracket filled out, and that the person with the highest percentage of correct bracket, like kind of the way you do a March Madness.
Right.
You should do a Real Sports Live Madness. And give them a free shirt or give them something, right? Like I just think, or bring them on the show and just go, how did you know how to pick all that, and just see whose brackets get you the highest percentage. I think that's a cool deal because I'll fill mine out and I'll tag you guys on it.
All right, I love that. Kevin, anything else?
No, hey, I'm just, looking at the 5A, we'll stick with Brownsville Veterans, and because we're on here and we can do this. Again, we talked about burying the lead earlier and kind of just looking ahead on what just may happen, Tino, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but for Joe and I, what can be, what could be, is we're looking at a possible 4th-round matchup with PSG North and Edinburgh Vela. I can ask you this.
Sure.
Well, as a football guy, as a fan, as a coach, someone who's from the Valley, what would that mean to the RGV if we were to get that PSG North Vela 4th-round matchup?
Well, first, let's talk about 3rd-round matchup because I really am a huge Vets believer.
And
I think that you could have a Vets
and
PSG North. And I'll tell you what, everybody thinks PSG North is invincible. You never know when you're in the 3rd round of the playoffs what's going to happen. They are awesome. Kaufman is the man. North is good. Kelly Lee's the man. Veterans is good. That would be first. Big for the Rio Grande Valley. Now, getting 4th round and having 2 Valley teams up there just speaks the world finally. Stuff we've already known, but the upper state, San Antonio, they don't give Valley the respect. And they don't understand that we have some of the best coaches down here in the state. We're dealt the cards that we have, and sometimes the infrastructure, not athletes. People always think for me that it's an athlete thing. It's not an athlete thing. It's an infrastructure thing. You go upstate. You go to the upstate. Look at the size of their stadiums. Look at how much money they invest into athletics. Look how much they pay their coaches and assistant coaches, and that kind of infrastructure, success breeds success. Down here in the Rio Grande Valley, man, we got school board members fighting each other and spending a ton of money just to get on the school board. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of any school board. I haven't seen a school board down here in the Rio Grande Valley that impresses me in the direction that they're heading for schools involving athletics and getting behind them. They think putting $1 million scoreboard is going to suffice. You need to pay teachers more money. You need to up the game in education, and that includes upping your sports stuff. That's me on my little soapbox, but it will give people an exhibition of real Valley football. PSG North, Veterans, and Vela. they're going to be down there in the regional championship. I promise you. We're going to see some Valley in regional championship, and that would be amazing. Speak volumes for everybody, and we'd be the proudest Valley about it.
I'll tell you what, that round 3 matchup, if it is,
very
the
possible.
hinge is PSG North getting past Miller. Okay, looking at the brackets, and again,
Sure.
if you haven't got your bracket, get a copy of this. The brackets are all right here. It's all filled out. At least who's playing who in the first round. From there, you fill it out. But if PSG North gets past Miller, and that's a big if, because Miller's tough, and they've got one of arguably the best players in the entire area in Lonnie Adkism. But you get past Miller, and Brownsville veterans take care of business. Just to get to that Vela game is that BVM PSG North. And Coach Lee would love nothing better than to say, line my kids up against a team that likes to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, when you shorten possessions, it's anybody's game, right? I mean, we've known that. I know that from being a spread guy just playing Monty Stomball, right? When you play a guy who milks, an 8-minute drive, whether it comes out in 3 points or a touchdown, and you don't score, you're done. They've taken time of possession, and that's the name of the game for all these guys. So, the best of luck. All the Valley teams that made it, man, huge congrats on my behalf. I think just Valley football is back after COVID. I'm super pumped to see that. I'm pumped for Joe for what you're doing with Real Sports Live and the app and being on Roku and eventually getting on Amazon Prime and all the cool stuff that's going on. It's this kind of vision and it's this kind of investment that I need, I would like to see as a citizen of the Rio Grande Valley for our school districts to be pumping into how we educate children, to how we look to the future and how we involve sports in that, because sports is a real big part in education, right? It may not be as important as math, science, history, and English, but I will tell you this, it does help shape men and women, right, and good citizens with great coachings. And we have great coaches and we have great teachers, but we need to figure out ways to make our teachers get paid more and our facilities to be robust and to compete with the facilities of Central Texas and of North Texas. That's it. I mean, the money is the same. I just looked at the facilities that are up north and the kind of computers and things that are in the classroom. We're not feeding that here, We're just not doing it, and elections just happened. So all you new people that just got in, man, I hope you're listening to this and watching Real Sports. Our kids deserve better.
Make some changes.
Absolutely.
Coach, we'll see you, rain or shine, on that field.
Always interesting, man, to have me here. But, hey, guys,
We'll
see you Saturday. We look forward to it. Good luck to the Thursday, Friday Valley teams. We hope you kick everybody's butt. I'll be rooting for everybody and watching it, hopefully, and all the ones that they allowed you guys into the stadium. I'll be watching those at home.
We got 19 games, 19 playoff games over the next 2 days.
They're
They're the 20th.
I'm going to have to put multi-screens there because I want to watch them all.
Sounds good. Give me a picture
Yeah,
of that once you get them on the big board.
I'll figure it out. We'll put out something.
Sounds
right?
good. That's Coach Tino Villarreal. Again, best wishes to his Bloodhounds as they take on their first-round playoff matchup on Saturday. We'll be back, and Kevin, Ruben, and I, we all just talked about it earlier. We were going to do a fast-paced rundown of all the games, do some quick picks, talk to some coaches, and then we're going to come down and pick out just a couple of games, and we'll talk about maybe not the biggest games, but some bigger games, more intriguing games. We'll break them down a little deeper before we sign off. From Luke Fruia Motors in Brownsville, Texas, I'm Joe Bowling for Real Sports Live. We'll be right back after this.
Take a ride or ride a wave, build a castle or visit a castle, morning stroll or nighttime roll. That's as hard as it gets at South Padre Island. Voted Texas Travel Awards Destination of the Year. Plan your escape at sopadre.com.
We're the Mission Vets Lady Patrons, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Woo!
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
We're the Valley View Lady Tigers, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Woo!
calculate the number of miles that we travel over the next 2 days with all of our crews combined, and challenge any other company to say, hey, we got this many games and put this many miles on. All right, let's break down a couple of these games because, again, one of the ones we circled and we talked about at lunchtime was the fact that, at Bogus Stadium tomorrow, McAllen Bulldogs are one of those programs but really, they look at McAllen Bulldogs, and to make it back to the playoffs and now have a chance.
Call you padrinos and tell them thank you for the salon, the tamales, the dress, el DJ.
Ay, Ama, you called them. I didn't even want a quinceañera in the first place. I would have preferred to have gone to Paris instead.
I will, fine. I'm gonna give you your surprise gift early.
Huh?
Guess what? You're going to Paris.
How?
Well, I've been saving mucho dinero all year in insurance thanks to Pronto Insurance.
Let's just skip the quinceañera and go straight to Paris.
Call your padrinos right now.
Okay.
Ask your agent how you can start saving with Pronto. Best price in town.
We are the Edinburgh North Lady Cougars, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Woo!
We're still here. We're doing some technical stuff on the fly, fixing the audio. And, again, we talked about some of the games we're going to talk about. If the audio wasn't working, let me break it down. McAllen, Harlingen South. Kevin, bigger game for Harlingen South or McAllen because of the fact of where the programs have been and where they're going?
I think for Mac High, because we expected, at least I expected Harlingen South to be in the postseason. Now, whether that was through a district championship, a tri-championship, or just the fact that they make the playoffs, it's like, okay, good, South is back in the playoffs. I think it's more meaningful for Mac High because there was at one point in this season, especially that loss after Palmview, that a lot of people maybe not have picked Mac High to make the playoffs. Maybe even before the season, a lot of people didn't pick Mac High to make the playoffs. When you look at, going back into the, at the start of the year, you look at PSJ North, Vela, PSJ North, McAllen Memorial, Palmview, or maybe even a Rio Grande City, who I really liked this year. I thought they ran that nasty slot to perfection, and I thought they did a lot of great things. So those are 5 teams right there, and I didn't even mention Mac High. I didn't even mention Nicky Rowe.
Yep.
Rowe's in, right? But you can even take a step further and look back and say a different angle would have been Raiders, Vela Raiders, Memorial, Rowe Memorial, the 2 McAllens, Raiders, Vela. Still no Mac High. So for the fact, I think that, I think Coach Kelly Lee mentioned, he hit the nail right on the head. It was a very young group, and they're starting to peak at the right time. And Coach Shelby has done a great job on grooming quarterbacks over the years. We've seen him do it at Vela, and we saw him, as an OC, both at Vela and at Westlaco, with guys like Jacob Cavazos, Fabian Pedraza of the past, a few years ago down at Vela. So he's got the track record, and I just think now Mac High is playing good football. They've pivoted from that Palmview loss. So to answer your question, I think it's more meaningful for Mac High to win this football game. And I went on the air right now. I picked them in an upset because of their speed and because of their athleticism. Now, if South goes and wins that football game, I won't be surprised one bit because I do think and I believe Izzy's going to put South in a position to win that football game, and they're at home. And I know, they did lose their running back you had mentioned earlier. Whether he's playing or not, we don't know. But I just know Izzy at home, defensively, there's going to be some things that they're going to do right. And Mac High's still struggling defensively, so that votes well for Izzy. But I think this game is a lot more meaningful for Mac High. But on the flip side, you can look at it and you can change the narrative a little bit and say, well, one can say there's more pressure on South, because they haven't won a playoff game. It's been some time, and I know they made it 2 years in a row when Coach Ritchie was there, and they lost in the first round when they were still in 6A. Last year, still under the 32-6A umbrella, they won the district. They went undefeated, and then they wound up, getting hammered against PSJ North, and that's a different debate for another day on whether that was a successful season or not. But I think one can argue that there's pressure on Harlingen South to win this football game.
Get a win. Yep. Mackay, again, that program to me is usually viewed as how good is football in the McAllen area? Well, how good are the Bulldogs? Because, McAllen Memorial's had some terrific players, terrific seasons. And then you're looking at Rowe. Great quarterbacks have come through Rowe in recent past. Some prolific numbers. But every time I talk to fans around the McAllen area, they're always talking about how good or how bad are the Bulldogs, because that seems to stem the football talk. And now that they're back in the playoffs, I check it down as a big game. The winner of that, kudos to their program, because they do take that, what we always talk about, the next step in building a program either back or into contention. Another intriguing matchup, and we're not going to go through all of these, but I do want to talk about another intriguing matchup that we talked about, and that is the one over Sherryland and Mercedes. This is Pioneer against Mercedes. And, Ruben, I'll let you take the lead on this. You've seen Pioneer. I'm not sure you've seen Mercedes. I don't know if we sent you to a game yet or not, but I have. But talk about Pioneer and their chances and their importance of trying to get a win there against Mercedes.
Sure, Pioneer, a great team, and tip of the hat to Eddie Galindo and company. Julian Valdez, the junior quarterback, just took the key leadership role, and he took it seriously, did a lot of control. Mercedes is a really good team. Sherland Pioneers have had the pieces in play with Joseph Graham Jr., Antonio Carrizales, Leo Espinoza on defense too, with Andrew Rivera, Co Wodziak. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, but Sherland Pioneers is a great team. They've to see them develop throughout the whole season. They've had some little bit of tough matchups in 16 5A Division II. Of course, it was that loss in the Snake Sting Classic, but they bounced back. They finished off as a second seed, and that goes to show you how good the program is. And we can talk back earlier, even that in the final non-district game against Laredo Alexander. They had that same big loss at home. They bounced back in the district, and they took it around. That just shows you how good a team Sherland Pioneer is. But they're going to be tested against Mercedes because that Tiger offense can run rampant.
Mercedes Tigers also has, Kevin, one thing that every coach in the world loves, and that is that one guy that can make a play on any given, and it doesn't matter what side of the football he's standing on as far as the line of scrimmage. When you have a one-play kind of guy, Mercedes has that.
Yeah, Tyrell Trevino, and he was good as advertised. And talking with Coach, Raj Adame after the game when they beat, was it Mission Vets, that one game we covered when they played at. Was it the Sherland? Who'd they play?
Sherland, Mercedes.
Mercedes, we saw earlier in there. It was Sherland. Yeah, it was Sherland. So, for me, I've said it to multiple people. Anytime you have the best athlete on the field, you have a chance to win the football game. I know I picked Pioneer, but Tyrell Trevino is as good as they come. And one thing that Coach Raj had mentioned to me was that he was a receiver that moved into the running back position for that reason. Best athlete, get the football in his hands. So, Anusko, their backup running back, we really liked what he did too, and I was just impressed with what they did on the ground. And Mercedes is a team that typically likes to throw the football around, but this year they've leaned heavy on their rushing attack. But I just think at the end of the night, there's just too many weapons from Pioneer, and I think Julian Valdez, I think he's really taken that next step as a quarterback at the just a junior. And, each game we've seen him grow, and he's checked every box as far as the maturity level and how to handle a big game and making plays when they count. I think that overtime game against Roma earlier in the year when they won, that was another box he can check. How do you answer under pressure? And I thought he's handled it very well throughout the year, and I just think there's just too many weapons for Pioneer, and they're at home.
They're a young enough program that I can ask this question. Any quarterback coming up through the ranks is going to be compared to Eddie Lee Marburger. And I know that's an unfair comparison, but it happens. It's a young program. Yeah. Here they are. He's going to put them in position to be playing some games that Marburger also took Pioneer to do. Is he that good yet? Is he got what's the upside?
Well, he still has a lot of upside, and he's a dual threat kind of guy. And no disrespect to Julian or any other Jacob Rosales was great before there was Eddie Lee Marburger. And then Tyler Boltice was great too. And the kid played safety for Pioneer too until he fully moved to safety. And then kid went on to play at A&M, Texas A&M in College Station. What was your question again?
Yeah,
I'm getting shuffled in all these names.
The comparison to Eddie Lee Marburger, type of talk. When Eddie Lee was a senior, people were looking at that team saying, we expect around 4 opportunity with Eddie Lee.
Well, even his junior year, people were expecting 3 and 4 because and a lot of people forget that he didn't fully take over at quarterback until early his junior year. So I think Eddie Lee Marburger, I know he set the tone for that program when it comes to the quarterback position. And you're right, it is a fairly young program. What are we looking at, year 9?
Yeah.
2014, 15 when Sherryland Pioneer came around?
9 years, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a fair comparison. Can he get to that level? Maybe. It's going to take a lot of work. Can he do it? Sure. But I think it's Eddie Lee Marburger and really everybody else in that program. But Julian Valdez, he's a stud. I really liked what I saw from him, and he's going to get it done in his own way. Because you look at Luigi Cristiano, he had to step in for Kai Money, and we're not going to sit here and say, well, Luigi was better than Kai. But Luigi did things in his own way, and he kept that quarterback tradition at St. Joe. You look at Mission Veterans with Landry Gilpin. The guy was Mr. Texas football in 2018, and before him you had Santos Villarreal, who was a great quarterback. You had Diego Hernandez, who was another kid that
both good enough to say, hey, Landry, be a receiver.
Yeah, right. No, right, because, a lot of people forget that Landry was a receiver early in his career, and everyone forgets that. I know you and I, when Landry went on that run, we're like, duh, that's what he does. But because as a sophomore, he made that playoff start at Donna, and they won that football game. And not a lot of people think that they could do it.
Yep.
Because, well, they got this receiver kid. He's going to step in and play quarterback. I don't know. And you and I are like, what do you mean you don't know? This kid's going to be the dog that's going to lead them the next 2 years, and that was Landry Gilpin. But, I mean, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks that have come out of Mission the last few years. But it's a very, very, high ceiling. But fill in your own shoes, kid. Don't worry about filling in Eddie Lee's. Fill your own shoes, write your own chapter, and he's got a ton of upside.
I like that. Let's talk about 2 other games, and then we'll close it down. And the first one is the 2 8-2s. I circled Port Isabel, Ingleside, and I wrote about it in the little write-up for that classification that tradition. If you're ever going to look at tradition in any team in the Rio Grande Valley, if you haven't done so, drive down, look at the billboard at Port Isabel. An 8-2 team in the playoffs is exciting for Tarpon fans yet again.
Oh, it's extremely exciting. And I know in 2015 when I went down to PI first time covering a game there at that stadium, because you and I had already covered them in 2012, but never truly a game at Tarpon Stadium. I got a whole whiff of that billboard,
yes.
that Hall of Fame board that's up there. And I'm just like, man, this is stuff before I was born, or when I was born in '92 when they went on that state semifinal run. And, you and I had already got a full glimpse of how special PI football can be in 2012, that last year when they lost to Lavernia. We talk about, I wrote it in the 6As, how hard is it to get to that 3rd and 4th round, PI being one of those teams when you talk about the all-time greats. But tradition runs deep there in PI, and we have Rudy here. Surprised. He'll tell you all about it, about Tarpon football. And I think, a lot like Elias Martinez going back to San Benito in softball and just kind of writing it out, a program that he started, and he's been to the Promised Land twice. And you have Tony V, who's right up there with him. Tony V is already, at 600 wins as a coach. He did it in the 90s. He went to Westlaco, stepped aside for a bit. He's coming back to just kind of right off into the sunset with PI, and I think there's still plenty of magic left in that PI tank. Last year, same old situation, a little Motley Crue plug there. You saw them go and take on Carrizo Springs, and it was the same conversation. Can they do this? Can they do that? Now, last year, we're like, well, PI did this. That's kind of what we expected. Well, let's see what they can do. What can they show us? And we got all those kids back this year for PI, and I think they're in a great spot. And if there's anyone that can scheme a plan, like you said with Coach Mike Burgett, on parallel with him is Tony V. And I think he's going to draw up the plan and the formula, and he's been there, done that type of deal. So I think PI is in a good spot. And can we pull up their bracket, Joe? I mean, we'll have fun here. Why not?
Okay. While he's doing that, I'll tell you, Ingleside is their opponent today, 8-2, also a run-heavy football team, which is right into the factor that you can prepare for somebody that plays like you. Go ahead and into that bracket.
Yeah. So yesterday or Monday when we were piecing this together and we were talking about teams to keep an eye on, a lot like the 5A D1 where the region's open, I think PI has got a great shot to 2-3 rounds. They really do, because they're going to get Divine or Jarrell in the winner in the area round, and then the regional quarters. You're maybe looking at a Wimberley or an Orange Grove. But those are some teams that Tony V, especially Orange Grove. I know in Rio Hondo they were always clashing with them, and they know a little bit of the formula. And if PI can just do what they do, and I mean, Rudy Barrera's a dog at quarterback. I know he reminds me a little bit of Isaiah Martinez. He's got that in him, and then just the rushing attack, and we can rattle off all 7 of Tony V's running backs. But Cross Martinez and Matt LeBlanc. But Cross is going to be the fuel, and that secondary is very good too. The Smith brothers, they got 3 brothers back there in the Smiths, and Moreno back there, who's a true lockdown corner, we actually featured in that Players to Watch deal. So, I wrote about it that when I talked about PSJ North, that 2 things travel in the playoffs: your defense and your running game. So I'll just put that there, and then throw it into the formula for PI. So I like their chances.
Yeah, again, the tradition is there. Again, I'm going to allude to it again. The playoff preview has all of this information in there. It's got some write-ups. It's got some history. And more importantly, it has the brackets. And then like Kevin talked about, go to the centerfold and talk about, we did not even touch on it on this program. We could, but we would end up extending this thing beyond an hour and a half, and both of us have to get to stadiums, and including Ruben, who's going with me to get ready for the BVM game already tomorrow. But there's a section in which we selected for Real Sports Live the top 3 regular season players by position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, linebacker, secondary, kicker, head coach, and then a team. And you want to get into debate? Well, there you go. But pick up a copy so you can take a look at that. But again, that PI information is there. The PSJ North information is there. You Harlingen fans, you'll get a taste. San Benito fans, I'm going to stop naming names because I'll forget some, and they're in there. We've got something about more teams and a little 16-page preview than what you could throw together in 24 hours for Real Sports Live. We did that.
Yeah, I was looking at the names, and you're right. Let's respectfully not go there, because we'll go down a whole rabbit hole, and I'll rant for another hour.
Yeah, but on the players.
It's good stuff. It's good. It's really good stuff, and like I said, I was proud of all of us involved, and it's a really cool deal, and right in time for the playoffs, and it's going to extend into the postseason, because we're just predicting 1 round, but like I said, you can fill in the bracket, and there's names to watch throughout the postseason. So it's very cool. It's very Texas-like. Everyone should be proud of their state. I showed my mom and sister, and they said, "Yeah, I know you had a whole lot to do with the design cover." I said, "Why?" They're like, "There's the beach, and there's the state of Texas and the Texas flag." I said, "You're right, because I love my state." That's
and when we talk about beach, there's a waterfront view of the Corpus area and South Padre Island down here in the RGV, mixing it up, which is what Real Sports Live is all about, and mixing teams up from the RGV, from the Coastal Bend. Again, it's one of our best publications we put out, just hot off the press. Look for our crews at the venues that we're broadcasting the games. That's where these will be, and they're going to go fast. 5,000 copies off the press yesterday. We're going to be picking up copies tomorrow. But again, look for our crews. We've had people messaging us, where can we get them, where can we get them, where can we get them? If you're going to a playoff game, check our list for the 19 games that we're going to be broadcasting. Yes, we'll have copies with us. Our broadcasters will have them on tap. That's going to do it for the broadcast. Ruben, again, any final thoughts, excitement level for you as you get ready for the playoff run tomorrow night at BVM?
Just only got one thing to say, Joe. Let the madness begin.
There it is. And he's got his picks. He's got his brackets. He's going to fill it out, and we'll talk more next week. Thanks again to all of our coaches, to Rudy Zamaripa Jr. running the camera, Kevin Naro, and myself. We all thank you for tuning in to everything we're doing. Load the app. Load the app. Load the app. It's on Apple. It's on the iPhone. And, of course, he's wearing his world champion shirt, the Astros. Till next time, from Luke Fruia Motors. So long.